The Lark and Her Young Ones. One day, a lark made her nest in a field of young wheat. As the days passed, the wheat stalks grew tall, and the young birds, too, grew in strength. Then one day, when the ripe, golden grain waved in the breeze, the farmer and his son came into the field. "The wheat is now ready for reaping," said the farmer. "We must call in our neighbors and friends to help us harvest it." The young larks in their nest close by were much frightened, for they knew that they would be in great danger if they did not leave the nest. When the mother lark returned with food for them, they told her what they had heard. "Do not be frightened, children," said the mother lark. "If the farmer said he would call in his neighbors and friends to help him do his work, this wheat will not be reaped for a while yet." A few days later, the wheat was so ripe that when the wind shook the stalks, a hail of wheat grains came rustling down on the young larks' heads. "If this wheat is not harvested at once," said the farmer, "we shall lose half the crop. We cannot wait any longer for help from our friends. Tomorrow we must set to work ourselves." When the young larks told their mother what they had heard that day, she said, "Then we must be off at once. When a man decides to do his own work and not depend on anyone else, then you may be sure there will be no more delay." There was much fluttering and trying out of wings that afternoon. At sunrise the next day, when the farmer and his son cut down the grain, they found an empty nest. Remember, children, self-help is the best help. The Farmer and His Sons. A long time ago, a rich old farmer, who felt that he had not many more days to live, called his sons to his bedside. "My sons," he said, "heed what I have to say to you. Do not on any account sell the estate that has belonged to our family for so many generations. Somewhere on it is hidden a rich treasure. I do not know the exact spot, but it is there, and you will surely find it. Spare no energy and leave no spot unturned in your search." The father died, and no sooner was he in his grave than the sons set to work digging with all their might. They turned up every foot of ground with their spades, and going over the whole farm 2 or 3 times. In spite of all the efforts, they did not find any hidden gold. So they saw seeds of grain as they toiled hard on the farm. At harvest time, when they had settled their accounts and had pocketed a rich profit far greater than that of any of their neighbors, they understood that the treasure their father had told them about was the wealth of a bountiful crop. And that in their industry they had found the treasure. The Ass in the Lion's Skin. Once upon a time, an ass was roaming around in a forest. While he was walking, he saw a lion's skin left in the forest by a hunter. The ass was intrigued, and he dressed himself in it. He amused himself by hiding in a thicket and rushing out suddenly at the animals who passed that way. All the animals took to their heels the moment they saw him. He did the same again and again and again. The ass was so pleased to see the animals running away from him, just as if he were King Lion himself, that he could not keep from expressing his delight by a loud, harsh bray. A fox, who ran with the rest, stopped short as soon as he heard the voice. Approaching the ass, he said with a laugh, "If you had kept your mouth shut, you might have frightened me too. But you gave yourself away with that silly bray. Fine clothes may disguise, but silly words will disclose a fool." The fox then informed all the animals, who promptly came to beat the donkey out of his senses. The Ass and the Wolf. An ass was feeding in a pasture near a wood. When he saw a wolf lurking in the shadows along the hedge. He easily guessed what the wolf had in mind, and thought of a plan to save himself. So he pretended he was lame and began to hobble painfully. When the wolf came up, he asked the ass what had made him lame, and the ass replied that he had stepped on a sharp thorn. "Please pull it out," he pleaded, groaning as if in pain. "If you do not, it might stick in your throat when you eat me." The wolf saw the wisdom of the advice, for he wanted to enjoy his meal without any danger of choking. So the ass lifted up his foot, and the wolf began to search very closely and carefully for the thorn. Just then the ass kicked out with all his might, tumbling the wolf a dozen paces away. And while the wolf was getting very slowly and painfully to his feet, the ass galloped away in safety. "Serves me right," growled the wolf as he crept into the bushes. "I'm a butcher by trade, not a doctor." The moral of this story is, stick to your trade. The Story of a Raven and a Swan. Once upon a time there lived a raven who was as black as coal. He was very envious of the swan because her feathers were as white as snow. The raven one day got an idea. He thought he too would become like Swan if he lived like a swan. The foolish bird planned to swim and dive in the water all day long. He decided that he would even eat the plants that grow in the water. So he left his home in the woods and flew down to live on the lakes. But though he washed and washed himself all day long, his feathers remained as black as ever. He almost got drowned by the end of the day. Ha ha ha! The stupid bird then ate the water weeds, but the food didn't agree with him. So he got thinner and thinner as days went. And one day he died. So the moral here is, a change of habits will not alter nature.
Hi friends! Did you have a lot of fun with the videos? Do you want more? Subscribe to our channel to have more fun with me!